Hey guys, Andy from First Down Sports here. Before I get you to episode 55, I just want to set up what we did this week. With the football season coming fast, we love fantasy sports, so we had a bunch of guys from around Moncton come into the locker room in Ray's basement. We set up a bunch of tables and we had a good old-fashioned mock draft. I want to thank the guys for coming out. All the teams have been posted on our website, social media, various things like that, and Ray's going to track the cumulative fantasy points for these teams throughout the year. The winner's going to win a prize pack from all of our sponsors, and they even get to come on the show probably to brag a little bit or something like that. So I'm going to cut to some footage of that, and then we'll get right into episode 55. Now guys, this video thing is we're just getting it going. So if you enjoy this medium and you prefer watching the show like this, or if you just kind of like the videos anyways, click the like button, which is down there somewhere. It's a thumbs up. Hit subscribe, that would be even better, which is also down there, and leave a comment. Thanks guys. Kind of like do the double thumb point back there. Yeah.
If you could bend over a little bit, like you're doing a back talk.
She's all lit up, hair and makeup. She's out every night. She's drinking pesticide. She's up and gone again. It's not a boyfriend. They're not the kissing kind. They're just some friends of mine. You've been watching him. You'll make a comeback every time you want to say that.
Boys, that's a great draft. We did that in less than an hour.
I think she might know, but she never told me so. She called her daddy back. He had a heart attack and interrupted town. They're really getting down. It's not the neon lights that make the midnight bright. I know that you've been watching him. You make a comeback every time you want to say that. I look around, I look around, I look around, I look around.
Oh yeah, we're raking in the dough.
I know that you've been watching him. You make a comeback every time you want to say that.
There it is.
You make a comeback. You make a comeback. You make a comeback. I look around. I look around. I look around.
Welcome to First Down Sports. As always, I'm your host, Ray Dunn. Sitting with me down at the far end of my table tonight is my one and only brother, co-host, Chris Dunn.
How's it going, eh?
One and only.
One and only,
Wow.
sorry. I had to try to build up his ego because...
One and only.
One and only. Oh, except Nick.
Also sitting...
Oh, and Nick.
My producer tonight, sitting on my left, is Andy Jardine.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it
that
going,
that
Andy?
was factually correct on like the first
Factually? Sorry.
intro.
Yeah.
Back at the sound and audio table is my favorite brother, Nicky Dunn. There you
He
go.
made it up. He made it
All
up.
right, that's nice.
I'll give you that.
That was nice.
Also, you guys on video are going to see there's another person sitting at our table. Down at the far end of the table is my brother-in-law, Albert Pilbeam.
Our other brother.
Hey, Albert.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
How's it
Cheers.
going, Albert?
Yeah, thank you very much for having
Welcome
me.
to First Down Sports.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to be getting to you a little bit later with some various sports topics we're going to be talking about tonight.
Looking forward to it.
But before we get to even that, I have to send out a huge shout out. We had our first mock draft tonight for First Down Sports. And I have to say, overall, it went a lot smoother than Andy probably was forecasting. What did you think, Andy?
I'll agree. Yeah, I thought early in the week that it was absolute disaster.
Disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, I thought if we got through it at all, we'd be here until midnight.
Yeah.
So I was wrong about a lot of
Yeah.
that. It went quite
Whoa,
well, right?
wait a second.
Well,
Andy's wrong?
other than your draft, it went really well.
We'll get to my draft in a few minutes. So I need to send out a big thanks to the participants of the draft. We had Scotty Chisholm, Jeff Wood, former co-host, Serge LeBlanc, the original Serge LeBlanc, Brad Douglas.
OG.
We had the one and only Chris Dobson.
Dabber.
We had Roger Nason. And again, Albert Pilbeam joined us on
Nice,
that,
yeah.
right? So, and then not only that, but Nicky Dunn slipped in at the last minute with a team as well. So we had 11 people on the draft.
Nice.
So basically, how it worked is we picked 8 rounds of players. We had QBs, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. And I'm going to calculate those scores throughout the year. And the person that has the most points at the end of the year will be winning a prize pack from our sponsors. And let's talk about our sponsors because we haven't got there
Nice
yet.
transition. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But first of all, if it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, let's say Monday night, and you're going to have yourself a beer, make sure you get yourself a Moose Light. This stuff is scary good.
Scurry.
Scary good. And if you're a sports team, a organization, a school, because your kids are going back to school here
A law firm.
soon, a law firm, and you need a hat, a shirt, jackets, ties,
Don't forget the ties.
Ties are good.
Socks.
socks.
Probably. Yeah.
Go see
Thanks.
our buddies, the Doyles, at Doyle's Corporate Image.
The Doyle's rule.
Doyle's Rule.
Yeah.
Nobody? Really?
No.
Double D.
Double D.
Double D.
I thought we were sick of it. We're not. Apparently. Yeah. Okay.
And lastly, is if your kitchen sucks,
Oh, and it does.
and most likely it does, and Albert's complained about this a couple times.
Yes.
Make sure you get yourself some Done Right Buffalo Sauce because this stuff's going to fix that kitchen up.
Delicious. Delicious.
It's a little sassy. Sassy. All right, so let's get into our draft. So, boys, we had, like I said, we had 11 players into our draft tonight. We drafted 81 players, and we did this in under an hour.
Jeez.
that was good.
That
Yeah.
was unbelievable.
I would
That's
say
fast.
the most successful thing out of this draft was probably the guy pushing for the picks to come in as quick as they did. That's what got us done within the hour. What do you guys think here?
I think the best thing was
Without you, this thing would have been mush, right? All right, let's just move on from that.
All right, let's move on. So originally,
Yeah.
what we were going to do is we were going to go through each person's their picks of the night, and we were going to rate them as individuals, and then kind of come up with a score.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some individuals. I'm going to, rather than name everybody, I'm going to talk about some highlights of their team. Okay, and we can talk about. We can refer back to our top 10 lists. In the fact that some of the players that we didn't mention on our top 10 list actually came up in this draft, which was quite interesting. Okay?
Okay.
So let's start out here with Albert, seeing we got him at the end of the table.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm on the hot seat here.
Albert had first pick overall, and he took the smart pick of David Johnson from the Cardinals.
Solid.
Yeah, durable player.
Durable.
Yeah.
Second pick overall, he went right back to running backs, took Lamar Miller. Followed up with Drew Brees, Demaryius Thomas, Jimmy Graham, Spencer Ware, Brandon Marshall in the 7th round. That was a good pickup. I like that.
Huge value.
He'd be good with ODJ on the other side there, OBJ.
Yeah.
Yep.
Final pick of the night, you picked up as your flex player. You got another running back. You got C.J. Anderson. I've had C.J. Anderson the last couple of years. Some weeks he can be awesome, and other weeks he doesn't show. So, last pick of
Last
the draft.
pick? I think that's great value.
It's a good value last
Perfect
pick
value.
for sure.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about your draft tonight, Albert?
Not too bad. I didn't have a whole lot of time for preparation as opposed to years past. I spend a lot of time usually kind of getting ready. This is a little earlier than my typical fantasy team start. I'd like to fault that lack of preparation on my commitment to my career, commitment to family, and commitment to wife. Not necessarily in that order, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the team. I think it's going to be a competitive team, and we'll see what the season brings.
I'll just mark down Missy's fault.
Missy's fault.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're ready.
We have to be careful because she is in the room and she can blow at any moment. So let's take it easy. Let's take it easy.
She's not smiling.
Overall, all right. Let's go to our panel of fantasy experts
Tell
here.
if she was happy or not.
Let's go to our panel of fantasy experts. Overall, boys, I think he had a pretty good draft here. Lamar Miller. You guys heard me preach this guy when we were doing our top 10. I think that's a great pick. If there's anything on this list that I thought might be a little bit early, and I'll throw it out there, see what you guys think, is Demaryius Thomas. What do you guys think there?
I thought he drafted Demaryius Thomas at a good point. Where I think he nailed the draft is he went with a super reliable and fantasy stud quarterback, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So he sidestepped the Ray backup quarterback rule that you might want to explain to everybody here soon. I thought it was fun. I thought it was great. C.J. Anderson, again, you're right, hit or miss.
Yeah.
And there were some maybe more steady guys available at that time, but it's worth the risk.
Yeah, good risk. Anything down there, Chris?
Yeah, I think that you're going to have consistency. You got guys that are all perform. I think you got some good value in there. Other than mine, I think you're going to finish second. Good job.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Speaking of Chris's, who when we went through the ratings, now let's just double check here. Albert gave himself a B+. That's a great.
I agree with his grade.
Yeah.
He gave himself a B+. And again, he talked about the same things about the fact of lack of preparation, career.
I think he wrote his speech on there. Yeah, he wrote that.
So B+. All right. Now I should have put these in order, but we're getting into Chris's. So Chris,
I know. Let's
being
take a time to breathe this in, fellas.
Chris being as
Breathe it in.
Okay.
He comes out with an A++. He's given himself
A++.
I'm being conservative.
And modest.
I'm being conservative.
So his first pick overall was Bell, which wasn't surprised at number 2. In the second round, he took Des Bryant, then Keenan Allen, Greg Olsen, Carlos Hyde, Fitzgerald, which that's risk, but good pick. I thought that was a good
There's
pick.
no risk there.
Crowder, and then the guy that he fought the most for the top 10 quarterbacks was Dak Prescott. He took in the 8th round.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, Andy.
It's really bringing a tear to my eyes.
So he is a really good team. So Dak is his only quarterback? Or
Dak's his only quarterback.
That is a good team, Chris. The quarterback's the only pick that I would fault you on. I thought you had better options there. Carlos Hyde was my sleeper pick for running back. You did really well. I think where you took Larry Fitz was good.
Yeah, that was great.
The only fault is the quarterback you chose, but still a solid draft.
That's the only thing I got. I have to say that the risk pick you took on Keenan Allen, I think that could very well pay off this year. We argued about that on the podcast, but Phillip Rivers is looking good so far in camp. I think Keenan Allen could be a solid pick for you.
Yeah,
solid pick.
The only thing I'll say about the counter with my quarterback, look, Zeke's going to be out 4 games.
Yeah,
6. Come on.
I think
Stop
they're
this
going
nonsense.
to renew.
He's not going out for 6.
I think there'll be 4. But anyways, 4 games of him solid passing. He's got a great offensive line. He's got options. The Deep's going to play well.
Okay.
I think you're just going to, and he can run it in. If Zeke's not going to run it in, who's going to run it in? If the passing game breaks down,
I don't think I don't think it matters who the running back is for Dallas. They've had 3 different running backs for the last 3 years, and all 3 of them, I think, top 1,200 yards. And it does not matter who's playing running back for Dallas. So this whole Zeke being out thing being a huge problem and going to impact the game from every direction. No.
Well,
No, doesn't matter.
The system too. I think he's well adapted to their systems there, and
exactly.
Yeah, I think
the leader of the team.
I heard today that they're finally opening the entire playbook for Dak, as opposed to keeping it. I wouldn't bother opening the whole playbook for Dak if that's what he pulled off last year. So anyway, we'll see.
okay, guys, let's jump over to Serge now. So Serge had a pretty good draft. He started off with Antonio Brown, first wide receiver off the board, which he should be
in every draft,
right?
Yeah.
Here's the one pick I'm a little unsure about. Jordan Howard. I as you guys heard me say before, I wouldn't take any Chicago running backs. Then he had Fournette, Robinson, Crabtree, Walker, Rashard Matthews, not Ryan Matthews, and finally finished it up with Phillip Rivers. And again, I thought Phillip Rivers was a great pick. He was considering Mariota there.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andy? Was Rivers the better choice there?
I prefer Rivers there too, though Mariota would have been totally fine. I like his draft. I don't like his running backs for different reasons than you. I was fine with Howard, but I don't believe in Fournette at all. I just can't. Everybody saw what Zeke did last year and just thought the rookie's going to do it again.
Right.
No, and it's the Jags, not the Cowboys. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah.
Well, I think Howard's going to be a dynamite back. Albert and I talked about this earlier. I think that he's going to have a big year. I think Fournette, the only problem with him is they got no QB. Usually the QB is complemented. You saw with Dak how he did with Zeke, but with having no QB, they're just going to stack the box almost like Gurley in LA.
Yeah.
it's predictable. That's what it's going to become.
Well, I think I still think Howard's going to have a tough year. Chicago's going to have not much of a passing game, so I think they're going to be playing very tough defenses, 8 men in the box. It's going to be a tough year for the Chicago running backs. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my pick right now.
Okay.
Let's head over to my draft, and I'll tell you one of the things about my draft. I've always loved selecting 4th or 5th draft position. I always have.
Okay.
When this 4th round pick came up tonight, I was not happy with my pick of Julio Jones. I'm not a big Julio Jones guy.
Wow.
I've had him in past teams, and I've always dealt with injury on years that I had Julio Jones, so that kind of threw me off. During the draft, I was running the computer, tracking everything. I was trying to track who was drafted, the sheets.
Excuses coming?
No, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
But
you're setting up something big here.
But what I'm trying to tell you is Julio Jones was not a good start for me right off the bat. But he could be a stud this year, right? He could be a stud based on the conversations Chris and I had about Matt Ryan. He could be a stud this year.
Big time.
He's a stud.
All right, here's my
every year.
I see him that way every year.
Yeah.
Here's my next pick that you guys are not happy about. And I took Elliott at running back.
Super happy about it, actually.
So
We're in the league against you. I was thrilled about it.
Yeah, I think it was a great pick.
Amazing pick.
I was pissed you took him.
well, here's the thing about Elliott. Yes, he's at a 6-game suspension right now.
Yeah.
But let's face it, this guy's not getting 6 games. He's going to get 4 games max
Yep.
when this goes in front of the commissioner. Max.
Yeah.
This guy will still run for 1,000 yards this year. No question he's going to get 1,000 yards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay? When I looked at other running backs on the board, I still believe Elliott will be more productive than those other running backs on a shorter schedule.
Okay.
That's my thoughts there.
All right.
Any
Possibly.
conflict?
There's a few that will that will definitely be
The
higher.
only one that I think would have outproduced Elliott is McCoy, and he was taken earlier, and we'll talk about that. Okay?
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
Montgomery
I think that you're, the automatic thought that he'll only get 4 games. I think I think you're crazy. This is a different year, a different league.
Yeah.
The way the Ray Rice thing was handled. I mean, sure, there's no video. In fact, he wasn't even charged. But come on, when you're not charged, that just means you paid somebody to drop the charges. So, I think you're making some assumptions there, but fair enough. He will probably still have 1,000 yards.
I think there's video of him in that trailer, isn't there? The box of that
Well,
truck.
there's video of him pulling the poor girl's shirt down.
Yes,
there.
but that's keep in
grabbing
mind
the biggest hold.
Keep
ever,
in mind
so.
that's not what the NFL suspended him for, though.
Yet.
Okay.
It's a combination
Yeah,
of things. In the
It
letter
is.
to him,
It's a
they
conduct.
mentioned that incident.
they did.
Yeah.
Let's move over to Scotty's draft. So Scotty took OBJ.
You didn't even want to talk about how you graded yourself and what we were going to grade you?
Yeah. You moved
Well,
on to that
let's
really
save
quick.
Let's save that for
Scared.
another day. Let's
All
save
right.
that for another
We'll
day.
save that for another one. Well, let's get 3
B
weeks
minus.
into the system.
Just for that
I
part,
B
B
plus. B plus what I rated myself.
Plus, strong.
Scotty Chisholm.
Generous.
Okay.
OBJ to start. Then he got Amari Cooper, which
Yeah, two stud.
two
wide
stud
receivers.
wide receivers.
Yeah.
DeMarco Murray, Ty Montgomery, which I am a little bit surprised Ty Montgomery went that early in the
I
draft.
wouldn't have taken him.
I know. I was targeting him.
But Chris, you
Not
and
that
I
early.
talked about the fact that he
not that early though. You're right.
He was my sleeper. We both talked. Well, I both liked him as a sleeper, but 4th round, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. Sleepers don't
Too
get
early.
taken in the 4th round.
No.
Joe Mixon, Hill, Winston as a quarterback in the 7th round. That's a great value in my opinion. Then he had Hunter Henry, who we talked about on the show as well.
Yeah.
So that's his lineup. Scotty gave himself an A. Joe,
I mean, maybe.
Joe Mixon.
I think he could do very well if a lot of things go right. Montgomery,
Yeah,
I think, could
let's
be a
just
steal.
hope.
He's got Joe Mixon will end up as a top 10 running back. Winston top 5. Oh, and last comment, Pat sucks. So based on that comment, I got to give him an A. I'm on board with that.
I went with a B, and I went with a B plus because of the last comment. So, yeah.
Agreed.
All right, mine went down to a B minus too. Yeah. Actually, who's Pat?
All right, now we've got the producer. The producer himself, Andy Jardine's draft. Andy, why don't you walk us through your draft there? Let me just read it through.
Yeah.
Not good.
First pick overall, we had LaShawn McCoy, Buffalo Bill. Congratulations,
Yeah.
First Bill off the board.
Put your hand down, right?
Tom Brady, Michael Thomas, Crowell, homer pick right there. Then you got in with some Golden Tate, Jeffries, Kyle Rudolph, who you were pushing hard for in the tight end. Then you stole my pick in Tevin Coleman in the 8th round. That's a great pick right there.
Yeah, I won't go too far into it, but the McCoy pick, I would have loved to have been able to take somebody else, but he's the only workhorse running back left on the board at that point.
Yeah.
I think Watkins leaving only increases his workload. So if he can stay healthy, I mean, he's a beast. He's great. The Tom Brady pick was based solely on your rule that you can play all your slots unless you draft a backup quarterback. So
Right.
I grabbed the biggest fantasy stud at quarterback I could that I was confident wouldn't get hurt. And I really don't care how old he is.
Okay,
Like,
so
we've
let
been-
me ask you this, okay?
Yeah,
I get that for this experiment tonight.
sure.
In a regular draft,
No.
is Tom Brady going 2nd round?
Well, some moron probably would do it, but
Some
it wouldn't
New
be.
England
But
fan,
it wouldn't.
yeah.
But it wouldn't. But it wouldn't be me. I don't take quarterbacks until probably the 6th, 7th max, and that's
Yeah.
if I can get one of the studs.
Right.
Otherwise, I take quarterbacks late. Like Andy Dalton will produce 85% of what Tom Brady will produce, and
Right.
Andy Dalton might not even get drafted in some leagues, and I hate him. But still, I would take. So no, it was only due to this experiment
Okay.
that I reached for Brady there.
The only thing I would say about your draft is that there's rumors about Megatron possibly coming back.
There are Ray Dunn has raised rumors of that. Nobody else. There's no rumors that Megatron's coming back.
He's tweeting.
They'll
If he
ha-
goes back,
They'll have to drop like 7 players to be able to afford to pick his contract back up. It's not happening.
Andy's right on that point.
It's not happening.
It's huge.
All right, now
Restructure.
Roger Nason. Okay, this guy, just to give you an idea, this guy's been involved in fantasy football before there was the internet. Okay.
Okay, wow.
They used to run their league
Sorry,
by
Mr.
pen and
Nason.
paper. Okay. This guy knows his fantasy stuff. Okay, just giving you that right off the bat.
Okay.
This guy, his draft went like this: Mike Evans, 1st round pick, great pick there. Then he got McCaffrey, which that was kind of a surprising pick, but
Could be
this
a good
guy
one,
has
could
the
be.
ability. Who knows with this guy?
Yeah.
Then he took Terrell Pryor. I mean, again, we talked about how exciting this guy
He's
is.
a
gonna be.
legit number 1 receiver.
He followed up with Kirk Cousins in the 4th round, maybe a little early there.
Pretty good.
Pryor's quarterback.
Jarvis Landry, then Kareem Hunt, running back with the Kansas City.
Yeah.
Jack Doyle, and finished it up with some guy, Craig. I just
Dante
wrote down
Moncrief?
Yeah, there you go. I just wrote it down real
We have a
quick there.
Colts fan in the room, and you're just like who's this?
Moncrief.
Sorry.
Wow.
The problem is with
This
this,
guy.
as I was
Keith.
typing my notes, I just typed down the stuff I would be able to find when I go to pretty up this
And
spreadsheet.
names you would be able to pronounce.
There
I
you
get
go.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So he gave himself a B.
I agree.
He said a lot of it's going to depend on how his rookies perform, and the rest of the team is pretty solid.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
McCaffrey was a huge reach. I wouldn't take a rookie there, especially not, like a McCaffrey type, like
Yeah.
a jack of all trades kind of guys. Like he's going to be really exciting, but I wouldn't have taken him there. Otherwise, yeah, B, it's fine.
B? Good.
I'm actually giving him an A. Yeah, I think Cousins is great. Evans is great. McCaffrey, I think, is going to have a good year. I know rookies, you don't typically go that way, and he was a reach. But if you look at his whole roster, Pryor, Landry, Hunt, Doyle. I picked Doyle to be the surprise of the year this year.
Yeah, you
if
did.
luck can be,
I guess just imagine his roster and what it would look like if he didn't reach for a rookie and his quarterback so early. Like he
Still looks
could
great.
have he could have got Cousins.
I was going to say, he could have saved 2 rounds on Cousins for sure, easily. Nobody was taking him.
All right, let's jump over to Jeff Woods. Okay,
Okay.
former host or co-host of the show. He started off his draft. He got Jordy Nelson. He's a Green Bay fan. Of course, that was happening.
Makes sense.
Right? Then he followed it up with Gronk, Gurley, Delvin Cook, Benjamin, Woodhead, Derek Carr in the 7th round. Great pick. Great value there. And then he finished up with Randall Cobb. So he's got both his Green Bay receivers.
Yeah.
He gave himself a B, and he says he's trying to put down the Bills and the Jets. So I'm now taking him down to a C from these comments here.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about these draft picks?
I just hate his running backs. I don't like his running backs at all.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this about Gurley, because we talked about this guy, and we didn't even put him in our top 10.
No.
Okay?
He doesn't
would
belong
he?
there.
All right, now hold on here. I want to, now that Sammy Watkins is playing with the Rams, I just want to throw this out there. Okay. This is now going to open up their offense. Like,
It could.
their
Yeah.
offense wasn't going to be when we first talked about Gurley. Okay, Watkins adds another element. You're not going to be able to put that safety down in the box. They're going to have to keep that safety back for Sammy downfield. Maybe Gurley does have a better year this year with that help of Sammy Watkins on this roster. Just ponder that for a moment.
Well, I'll ponder it, and it's not my lack of belief in Sammy Watkins. It's Jared Goff averaged, I think, like 4.7 yards per attempt. Like, it was an all-time rookie low there. He doesn't throw down the field. I don't even think he can see. Like, I think maybe contacts are in his future or surgery. But unless Goff can start to find receivers going deep, and he had them last year, and I just don't see that helping Todd Gurley at all.
They did sign 2 offensive linemen this year. That's going to help out that offensive line as well, right?
That's fair. It just comes down to can Goff see anything, or is it just one read check down? Like, it was pathetic what he did. So unless he completely transforms, I don't think it makes that big of a difference.
Any thoughts down there?
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about the draft, not to get too much in LA, because I do see some valid points in what Ray's saying, but it's still risky. It's just risky. If I'm breaking it down fantasy-wide, Gurley was garbage last year.
Yeah, and his other rookie or the other running back's a rookie.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Benjamin, I think, is the key part in there too. That's 2 big risks on his roster. They're saying Benjamin's come to camp. He's lost 30 pounds.
Oh, he's lost 20 pounds. He's down from 270 to 250.
Yeah. So is he going to be
lightning fast now?
But then they have more people on their team that, like, McCaffrey's there. So is he going to get more targets? I don't think so.
Well, here's the thing about Gurley. I'm just going to finish it on this. I still think the 3rd round's way too early for him, but this guy could move up my draft board based on what I've talked about. Let's go over to Sanchez, Brad Douglas, good old butt fumble.
Don't talk about his first 3 picks. We made them for him.
His first 2 picks were Green, Freeman, and in the 3rd round, you're going to love this pick, Andy.
Yeah.
He took the Kansas City tight end.
And his name is Ray.
Then we got Baldwin, Matt
Kelsey.
Ryan, Powell, another homer pick there, Stephon Diggs, and Pierre Garçon. Any thoughts about he gave himself an A with all kinds of different notes here.
Yeah.
He says that he thinks that if we would, I can't make this comment on the. He's getting an A. That's his comments right now.
Thanks, Brad.
His comments an A. Chris, you start off at the front of the
I'm
table.
going to let Albert go with that one. What do you think with what he drafted there?
I think it's a stretch for Kelsey. He's a good TV celebrity. I think that's kind of been his focus. I think if he gets back to football and the game that he can play, there's potential there, but last year's season was questionable at best. So
Yeah.
for that early.
And I think I think we talked about it in one of our shows that Kelsey's going to be the guy that, Macklin's gone. Who are they going to cover? It's almost like the New England kind of style of, hey, that's your best guy. Let's cover the best guy and make you beat us.
Yeah.
So if he gets knocked out, I think he's still going to have a quality year. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to have as big as a year as he did last year.
Right.
Easy to defend against.
Yeah.
We're moving on to Chris Dobson. Okay,
Dabber.
now this guy here knows his sports. Okay, I mean we might have been a little out of our league tonight, but we had Dobson on here. Now he started off very solid. He took Melvin Gordon, which we've talked about this kid. This kid's exciting football player. Then he's got Hilton, Marshawn Lynch, Brandon Cooks in the 4th round. That's a great pickup, I think. Edelman, so he's got both New England receivers. Peterson, Zach Ertz, and Andrew Luck is his final pick. He rates himself as a B+. So, Andy, why don't you lead us on this one here?
Wait, so Luck's the only quarterback you took?
Luck's his only quarterback.
I like your draft more, actually, now that I know that. So you're banking on that. You'll let him take a couple weeks off if he has to, and then he'd be fine. It's fine. The Lynch pick was a little bit of a reach. I mean, the guy's already sitting for the national anthem. Gosh, like, is he even going to play? I mean, not that I have a problem with him sit away, but Edelman, I remember when you took Edelman, I thought, okay, decent pick for PPR league, but there were a bunch of receivers I would have taken instead. But otherwise, good.
What about Adrian Peterson? That's the only one I'm going to throw out there. Peterson, he took in the 6th round.
Where he took him.
You like that?
There's not a lot of risk there, right? The unfortunate thing is, in this specific format, you really can't have any player go out.
Right.
One player goes out, and that's it for you. That's it.
Awesome.
I'll bring it really quick. Is running backs? I love it. I usually don't like to have two receivers on the same team, but it's Brady.
Right.
They're going to get a ton of throws.
Right.
The only thing that's a question mark is if Luck can stay healthy. And if Luck doesn't stay healthy, this whole thing's going down the crappers.
There you go.
AP's awesome. Ertz, I think it's going to be good too.
All right, let's go. Yep. So we had one late entry into the draft. That's my little brother at the back, Nicky Dunn. So Nicky, I'm gonna go through your picks here. Okay, so Nicky started out with Connor McDavid,
Messier,
and then he went. Then he went with Jack Eichel and Austin Matthews. Is that right, Austin Matthews?
Never.
All right, no. So Nick. First round pick out of the 11th spot, he took Aaron Rodgers, JA. He took Watkins in the 3rd round, Jordan Reed, Mark Ingram, Bryant, Deshaun Jackson, and Anquan Bolden. All right, so Nick rated himself as a B-. Chris, why don't you give me your thoughts on Nick's draft here?
I think there's some really good stuff. Rodgers is good. Watkins, I think I think he will have an all right year. Ingram gave me because Adrian Peterson's there. I think he's going to get the majority of the snaps. Who's going to be doing the goal line? We'll see. But everyone else, I didn't mind. Bolden, I think, is a stretch too because it's the Bills, and I don't know how many.
You know me with drafts, so I have to have one Bills.
There's one homer one, so there's your homer one. I give you a good solid C+B. I'm going to have to give you just sorry.
Andy, any thoughts here real quick?
My only thought is, Nick, I liked your draft more than I liked Ray's.
Yeah.
And I will edit that out of the show. So. Albert, any thoughts on Nick's draft there?
I mean, just going back to the Watkins-Goff thing, Watkins' strength, it doesn't play into Goff's ability. It really doesn't. I don't see a long ball out of this guy. I don't. And that's Watkins' strength, right? I think there's tremendous talent there, unlimited potential. Just I don't see the quarterback throwing the ball that deep to him.
I think Watkins is going to be sliding in a lot of drafts, not people reaching for him. I think 3rd round's way too early. I think you could have got him probably in the 5th round,
the kid
5th or 6th round.
He doesn't get it.
That's right.
He doesn't get it.
And we're going to talk more about him later in the show. Okay. Bolden, I'm going to give you a pass on that, like Chris said, because you're a homer. But I really, really, really like your Jack Eichel pick. Great job there.
Is there a grade for embarrassing? Yeah, because this is embarrassing.
So that is our fantasy teams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty up this spreadsheet. I'm going to put it out on the website. I'll be calculating totals throughout the year. Awesome. And I will be posting, we're going to use standard PPR stats. So I'll calculate this up. Every week we'll have a post on our Facebook page and our Twitter account. If you guys want to follow along, go ahead. But, I mean, this has been fun tonight. The most important thing is to get into the pick'em pool. Andy, why don't you tell us about the pick'em pool one more time?
We set up a pick'em pool. All you have to do is beat us on a weekly basis. You'll get all kinds of free prizes, mainly free beer.
Free beer.
Let's be honest. Yeah, it's on CBS.
And some Done Right buffalo sauce. I mean, they've committed to 100 bottles. They've given us 8 this year, so it's 92 more bottles we got coming from Done Right buffalo sauce.
All right. Yeah. So last time I checked, we had about 15 entrants, so we could use a lot more since we have 92 bottles of sauce. So, but yeah, just get me your. We'll periodically be sending the link out on Facebook. It's already there now, so you can.
I think the fun thing too is if whoever picks the winner out of these drafts, maybe we can throw something a little surprise.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The winner of this draft will definitely be getting a.
No, somebody picks on our. Let's say they go to the site and they say this is, or they go on their Facebook page and they say, I picked this to be the best one.
So this is an entirely different contest that you're bringing up that you can run and organize and maybe highlight it next week.
My producer's all over this. Good job, Andy.
All right. Good job. Cool. Yeah, we'll get the details from you next week, Chris.
Okay.
As you walk in the door.
All right. So
5 minutes to go.
Before we get to our odds and ends,
so much anger.
Before we get to our odds and ends tonight, I've got 4 or 5 different topics I want to talk about, but I want to welcome my brother-in-law Albert Pilbeam from Ridgetown, Ontario, coming all the way out here to Moncton on vacation. So he's stopping by First Down Sports set tonight. So Albert, first of all, welcome again to First Down Sports.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So Ridgetown, Ontario, part of the Chatham-Kent County.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what the town motto is of Ridgetown?
It's the friendliest town in Ontario.
Wow! Great job.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you know what the population is of Ridgetown?
It's like 3,002 or 300, I think.
Wow, pretty good. 3,002.
3,200. There you go.
No, 3,002.
Oh, and 2.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's
it. I couldn't figure out.
He had the number.
It's diminishing then. It's diminishing.
Why would they just say like 3,000?
Well,
like
it's small enough that we can
3,002.
track every person, I think, in this town. It's that small.
Wow.
1 traffic light, 1 grocery store, 1 gas station.
Now, I did hear a rumor I checked Facebook for a little bit more information on Ridgetown, and they said something about every time a girl gets pregnant in Ridgetown, some guy leaves town. That's why the population never changes.
It's one of the most confusing days in Ridgetown, Father's Day, I'll tell you.
Now, Ridgetown is popular. Did you know that there's 4 things that are produced in Ridgetown? They're the number 1 producer in all of Canada. Do you know what those 4 things are?
No.
Come on.
In
think
all
about
of Canada?
It. In all of Canada, they're the number 1 producer.
I'll say fantasy football champions.
Wow.
Let's see here.
Okay, we just go to the big board.
Yeah, go to that one.
Yeah, that's perfect.
No, I'm guilty of not knowing. I really want to know.
Let's hear them, Ray.
Tomatoes, seed corn, pumpkins, and tobacco.
Okay.
There's some facts for
Oddly
you
enough,
about
I worked
Ridgetown,
on a farm
Ontario.
for each of those. Shamefully. Yeah.
All right, so before we get into the odds and ends topics, the only other thing, now this whole friendliest thing, I'm not sure if it's more friendly than Fort Erie, but you know, we'll let that slide tonight. I always love, if there's one thing I love about sports in marriages, I always love to hear that story about how their husband converted their wife into whatever sports team they like. So can you tell me how you converted your wife into liking your sports teams?
Yeah, it didn't go that way at all. No. Love my wife. She's a huge Bills fan. Yeah. And when I met her, I was a Bears fan, a longtime Bears fan, in fact. And, the fridge and such. And I reluctantly went to the Ralph Wilson Stadium and saw the Bills. And the first time I was really taken back by the tailgating and all the fun that we had collectively as a family. And over time, cheers. And over time, it kind of grew on me. Yeah. And it's just you have to sort of look to the future and think, okay, where is it that I'm going to be spending my time? Who I'm going to be spending it with, and the enjoyment that I had with you guys. Yeah. And gladly converted to Bills fan. And it's been about 19 long years, painful years, some of them, that I've been a diehard, and I mean diehard, Bills fan. We've got 3 great kids, and they've been raised that way as well. And
no choice.
No choice. No, it's Bills. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I love about if you check out my sister or Albert's Facebook page on Bills Game Day, it's like the circus comes to town because you guys have all the props up in your front yard.
Yeah, in the middle of Ridgetown, we may be the only Bills fans, but it's flags, and we got a 10-foot inflatable Bills guy, and every person's got their jersey on, and we're twittering everything.
Yeah,
and,
the kids are running around.
Oh yeah, we've got the
screaming,
Bills,
yeah.
the scoring song. The Bills make me want to shout, and everybody's high fiving.
All right.
It's glorious.
It's glorious.
Here we're going to get into our odds and ends now, and we're going to talk some Buffalo Bills because Andy loves this subject. So last week,
I really do. Sometimes.
Last week on Friday was kind of a very shocking day. I wrote a great blog. You can check it out on my you can check it out on my website.
If you need the link to the blog, I can
but you kind of get what I went through the day of the trades. I'm going to pass over you, Andy, right now. Let's go down to the farther end of the table. What was your immediate thoughts last week as the news was scrolling in that Sammy Watkins and Ronald Darby had been traded from the Buffalo Bills?
It was a kind of a knee-jerk reaction for me. I really love Sammy Watkins, and I think that the thing I loved about him was the potential. Maybe not the demonstrated ability, but what I thought was the potential with him.
Yeah.
So my knee-jerk reaction was shock and a little bit of anger. And when I started breaking down that trade and who they got for him and comparing their stats, there's a lot of similarity there. They played in the league the same amount of time. Matthews with a lot less injury time. Similar stats. And I think with that durability and then Sammy Watkins' question as it relates to his durability and a contract year just around the corner, I think the Bills, if you look forward to 2018 with 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks, if you're looking at a team that needs to rebuild, and we truly do and have been for a number of years, this might be the best recipe for success that we have for 2018 going forward.
Big time. Big time.
What do you think this trade, Andy, I'm going to throw this to you. So what do you think this trade does for Tyrod Taylor's future as a Buffalo Bill?
I don't think Tyrod Taylor had a long-term future in Buffalo anyways. I'm sure he's a little upset about this, to be honest with you, but I think I agree that this is a really good trade. I like the trade. It doesn't make you better this year, but you weren't going to the playoffs this year anyways, contrary to probably what you're thinking. And so all those picks, this is good. It sets you up, actually, that if you need to package some things, and if you guys really crap the bed a little bit this year, which I don't really think you will, but it'd be great if you did, because then you could package these up, get up and get one of these stud quarterbacks that are coming out, because that's what you really need. Just like any struggling team is, you need the face of the team, right? I don't buy into Tyrod that way, but I mean, he's better than a lot of guys in the league, but I don't think it affected his long-term history with the team at all. I just don't think he was going to be around much. Yeah.
Ironically, I mean, the Bills being the Bills, they get Jordan Matthews, as we talked about, and his first practice as a Buffalo Bill. He is now week to week with a chest injury. And just to do a little research,
that's all right.
Some people have done some research on this specific injury that he has.
The chipped sternum.
It can go anywhere from 18 to 22 weeks in order to be 100%. So we'll see if this guy's even on the field this year.
Well, I think Bean's already mentioned he's going to be at week 1. I think I fully expect him to be week 1. Yeah. He'll be all right.
He finished out the practice.
That's right.
Cordy, on a more serious note, left tackle Cordy Glenn, foot injury, just went and saw a specialist today outside of the city of Buffalo. And there is a very solid chance this guy will not be ready for week 1, meaning Dawkins, the rookie, will be starting. The 4th-round pick will be starting at left tackle. So the Bills have a long road ahead of them. Andy, what did I say they were going to win? 10 games this year?
Yeah, but you downgraded, I think, after the Watkins trade.
Yeah.
Bit, right?
It's definitely coming down.
All I remember is the Bills and the Browns are going to combine for 15.
Yeah, well,
I really want to see happen.
Let's just recap the Bills. I'm thinking 7-9, 8-8 again. What do you guys think down there?
I think you may make fun, but I still listen. I think they still you don't know what they have. Like every team starts off. I think Jordan Matthews will be back week 1. If he's not, that's a factor. Then our receivers are going to drop. It's going to the skill level is going to drop down. But I think we're a running team first, anyways. I think that they're going to run it regardless. They're going to have success that way. I think our defense is going to be the biggest factor. So as much as you're making fun of the O, the defense is going to be, let's see if we can go back to a top 5D. And if they can, you're going to see a lot more change. You're going to see it's going to have a bigger impact than all the other offensive guys you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one more question, Albert. This goes to you one. Mm-hmm. With the way the Bills have made these changes, I mean, again, future's a different subject, but this year, there's 100% the team didn't get better, right?
No.
Will McCoy be with the Bills in Week 1 this year, or do you think they make a move on McCoy as well?
I do not think they make a move on him. I think if you look at the new ownership and GM and the new coach, they have to recognize some staples within the team that they need to keep secure and make feel confident. And there's a guy that you can build a franchise around.
Yeah.
I think he's
a 30-year-old running back, though. That's the only problem. 29. He'll be 29 starting the season.
28, 29, or 30, guys.
Anyways, 29. It is 29, yeah, 29.
Yeah, are we rounding
I think he stays, I guess, to answer your question.
Okay.
He stays.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Andy's already written down 3 notes that we've talked too much Bills.
That's not, it was a time check.
This Sunday, we've talked about this. This Sunday coming up is the protest for Kaepernick and the fact that he's not with a team at this point.
Yeah.
That could change. But we've already had 2 players now, Marshawn Lynch being the first one who decided to take a seat during the anthem during a preseason game. So right off the bat, keep in mind this. Now, the NFL lost 26% of their viewers last year because of Kaepernick sitting through the anthem, and then
that's what they're attributing it.
That's what they're attributing it to.
Yeah.
Here we go again in 2017. We've already got these players sitting in the anthem.
Yeah.
What is the NFL going to do? And my next question is, does this help Kaepernick's chances of coming back to the NFL if other players are already doing this?
No, nothing, and they're not going to do anything. They're just going to let this play out. I think that Kaepernick has only hurts him to go against the owners. If the owners say that's it, you're not getting in. And no matter how much complaining is going to happen, it'll eventually go by. They're going to get what they want.
Right.
This is not good for them to do it.
I think if it's a different caliber of quarterback, it might have a different outcome. He's not an elite quarterback, and I hate saying that. I've never seen that within him. I've never seen him carry a team. I've never seen him have that status. Tom Brady, for whatever reason, takes a knee during the national anthem. I think the outcome's a little bit different. I do.
Very different.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
100%. But my only argument, again, on Kaepernick, 4 years ago, he took his team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right.
That's fair.
And it wasn't an overly strong team that he took to the Super Bowl.
He's done nothing.
It's just a different league. Like the league adapts fast. Like that was when the Wildcat was popular. I know we've already talked about that before.
Yeah. The whole silent protest thing is fine. It's fine. It should be fine, but it's already old. And I think these players have to come up with a better way to express themselves. Nothing's going to change here. And again, like Albert's saying, the teams can hide behind the fact that Kaepernick's not a sure thing at quarterback, and that's the reason they're not signing him, even if it isn't.
If he was talented, this would be different. Somebody would be picking him up simply because they need to win games.
And he should be in the NFL. He should be in the, he is 100%. He has the talent to do it.
100%.
But with all this distraction, nobody wants a distraction in the locker room.
No, especially not their backup quarterback.
Yeah. All kinds of other talent coming up, right? Yeah. That's the issue.
All right, I got one more topic we're going to talk about before we get out of here. I know we've beaten this to death.
The 3-on-3 Ice Cube tournament?
Yes. No,
not that.
No more 3-on-3.
Okay.
We're not talking any more 3-on-3.
Okay.
No, we've beaten this to death, but in 11 days, 5 days before my birthday, is the McGregor-Mayweather fight. Yeah. August 22nd or 26th. My wife's taking me to Vegas for this, I hope. But McGregor-Mayweather. Albert, you're new to the set.
Yeah.
Give us your spin on this fight.
Well, I mean, off record, you and I have spoke a little bit about this, and I'll kind of revisit my opinion. And it's simply that I'm not a boxing expert by any means. I'm a fighting fan. I like UFC, and I follow that with some degree of regularity. My concern about this fight is the people that pay premium money for the pay-per-view are going to be extremely bored This is my belief. I believe it's going to be a long and boring and defensive fight. I believe Conor McGregor, because of the rules that he's not used to, you can't grab a hold of somebody in boxing. I don't think he can box with this guy. I really don't see that happening at all. I think he's an extremely talented mixed martial artist, but I just don't see him staying with Mayweather. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a boring fight. It's going to be a very defensive and deliberate fight on Mayweather's part. And I think in the end it's going to be a decision. It's not going to be a knockout. It's going to be a boring event, and people pay too much money for it.
I think I agree, but the only that's what my first thought was when this was being put together. But the only thing I really feel is going to happen is if that was two boxers, I think it's dead on. But I think McGregor is going to put caution on the wind. He's going to leave his chin exposed. He's going to try to shorten that. I think overall, I do think Mayweather's most likely going to win.
If it goes to a decision, Mayweather's going to win.
But I think I'm starting to lean towards. I think he could close that ring if he can absorb those shots, which I think he can. He can hit you with both hands. I think if he's going to tag him, he's going to bring it to him.
Now, keep in mind, a decision is expected by the end of the week from the Nevada Sports Commission. But these fighters could be wearing 8-ounce gloves opposed to 10-ounce gloves come fight time.
Yeah.
And I think, again, Conor McGregor's got a much stronger chin than Mayweather. All right? It's been a long time since Mayweather's taken a hard hit. McGregor takes them every year in the UFC.
He's a tough kid.
He is a tough kid, and he's going to come at him in a completely different fashion than any boxer that Mayweather's ever seen.
Yeah.
And again, like I told you guys, and I've said this a couple times, when it comes to boxing, a lot of it is rhythm. You know, these boxers, they all have the same rhythm in the ring. He's going to see something he's never seen before with McGregor. This fight's going to go one or two ways. It's going to be a McGregor knockout, or it's going to be a decision for Mayweather. That's how I see this.
That's like
this fight going.
Any other boxing match.
Well,
no. What I'm saying is, Mayweather's not going to knock out McGregor.
No. Well,
McGregor will either knock out Mayweather, or if it goes to a decision, the decision will go to Mayweather for the sport of boxing.
the only possible knockout is a technical knockout for Mayweather, and that's if it goes the way Chris thinks, which is he throws caution to the wind, he leaves his chin exposed, and various things like that. Listen, Mayweather, no, he's not going to knock him out, but those eyes will be swollen shut. Like
he can tag him, yeah, for
if
sure.
he leaves his face out there for Mayweather the entire time, like he
he
won't even be able to see anything.
But you know,
fourth round.
that's the only way he's gonna that's why I think that's the only way I think he can win in that type
Anyway,
of match.
Albert, thanks for joining the show because I couldn't agree with you more. Finally, there's a voice of reason on this show. Like McGregor has no chance to win this fight.
I don't see it at all.
It's absolutely not.
Let's do a friendly bet.
I've been saying it every time we talk about it, so I'll just move on.
I can go a little deeper. I mean, if you consider boxing versus UFC, right? What are we talking for boxing? 12 rounds?
12 rounds.
Right. And UFC is...
I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this.
So
we're talking about a 29-year-old young man that has the stamina, whether it's 5 rounds or whether it's 30 rounds against Mayweather.
Well, we don't know that, though.
Well, boxing is also, 3 minutes around?
3 minutes.
UFC's 5 minutes?
That's big. That's big.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That doesn't matter?
I don't think it's going to be a knockout by Mayweather. I don't see that at all. He hasn't knocked a guy out in 7-8 years, something like that.
All right. Well, I tell you what.
He's never knocked.
We're going to move on from that subject. We have one more week to talk about it. Then we'll be watching it, and that will be amazing. And again,
I come up with something fun.
I can't believe I'm going to Vegas to watch it. This is amazing.
I mean, that'll be worth it. Even if the fight's boring.
This is the first time Ray and I are kind of more on the same thing. So why don't we do a friendly? We'll come up with something friendly on the side.
We'll take that off.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, Chris, before we get out of here tonight, any final thoughts? Is there a TV show you want to tell us about this week? Any final thoughts?
Well, I think Cross the Line is like one of the great shows to watch with Rogers. I think that's unfortunate. As good as your draft was, you're going to still finish probably third. Sorry, Dauber. But no, you know what? I think overall, I can't wait for this fight to come up. Yeah. I'm really, really excited for it. Some people are already getting ready to, I don't want to watch it. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Albert, anything before we get out of here?
Just a real pleasure to be here, guys.
Yeah.
I thank you very much. It's been a great experience. I enjoyed it all. Thank you.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah, thanks Albert for coming. It's nice to see you again, and everybody that showed up for our draft. And make sure you join the pick and pool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nick.
NHL draft was or NFL draft was great.
Conor McGregor, number 1. Way to go, Nick.
That's right.
Way to go. All right. Well, look, before I get my final thoughts, I want to thank our sponsors again. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday.
Monday
If you
morning.
if you
Monday
need a
morning.
beer,
Come on.
You make sure you go out and get yourself a Moose Light. And Scary Good.
Oh, Scary
All
Good.
right, Scary Good. There you
Scary
go.
Good.
Sure.
And again, if you're a sports team, organization, or a school, like Andy brought up,
Yeah, a government official.
government official,
Doesn't
you
matter.
need hats, shirts, jackets, calculators. You go see our boys, the
Calculators.
Doyle's corporate image.
Doyle rules.
And last but not least, don't
Double
forget
D.
my little brother Nikki's company. If your kitchen sucks,
Fix it.
and you know it most likely does, you got to get yourself some done right buffalo sauce.
Just fix your kitchen.
Just fix your kitchen. Fix it up. Now, my final thoughts before we get out of here. Guess what's going on this Saturday? I'm heading to Antigonish, Nova Scotia, to St. Avex to work my first AUS exhibition game. Football
Nice.
season is back.
Nice.
Excellent.
Again, it's only 11 days until the McGregor-Mayweather fight. I cannot wait for this fight. And when I think about this fight, I think of my good old pal, head coach of the Buffalo Bills, the great Marv Levy, when he used to say, "Where would you rather be than right here and right now, baby?" That's our show for the week. Don't forget to check out our website, firstdownsportspodcast.com. You guys have a great week.
Four Brothers Podcast. Four Brothers Podcast.
Cheers.
And Andy.
Four brothers and Andy.